Yeah.
You're crazy. You're the toughest girl I know. Are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah, broken arm, broken elbow, doing comedy, and you already come off aggressive. You probably even angry that they're like, "Why is she yelling?"
Yeah. Actually,
But
She's
you
like,
start
she's
doing
like,
the math. What I did, I started doing the math like Ida, because me and Ida are very similar. I started doing the math, and I was noticing that I was getting, oh, I got sick here. Where was I right before I was? Oh, I was here.
yeah.
And then I'm like you, Steve, where I want to show love to everybody and everything. But now I put that on ice. I give everybody, and I talk to people. I'm very present. I'm not waiting for the other person that's coming up. I try to connect as possible. But the whole hugging, pound, oh yeah, unless I see it in your face that it's one of those moments that you needed that in your life, I'm not. And
So
then I
now,
stopped getting sick.
other than the interaction with the fans and getting up on stage, are you guys missing the other stuff too? Because I once you start traveling, like that part is the best part. You perform, you meet the fan, it's a beautiful thing. But are you missing like the bad hotels, eating at an Applebee's by yourself? Like, are we missing those pieces?
I don't miss hotels because I already struggle in hotels. You know, I sleep in a sleeping bag. I got a lot of phobias. And
Hold on, you gotta repeat that again. You
I, I
gotta. I
there are
did not
people
know
that
this
people are
about
not
you. I
there are
did not know this about you.
oh yeah, I don't get under the covers in hotel rooms. That's why.
Yo, like no, I'm not this, but a whole sleeping bag.
Yeah, I got Gina Yashere put me onto it. Like
Yo,
it's a travel sleeping bag, so I put that on top of the bed or whatever, and I put my own stuff under it, and then I sleep. He's seen it. Eric's seen it before. I
a
don't.
friend of mine. A friend of mine. He brings his own pillowcase.
I do. I bring my own pillowcase. It helps you. But here's the thing. I actually came up. This was a conversation between me and comedian Patton Oswalt, and we were talking about rock bands, like major rock bands. They travel with certain pieces of furniture or pictures of their family and everything, and every to put in the hotel rooms because that helps them sleep better. It's that like the smells and the senses and stuff.
Right.
So we came up with the idea of like, what if right before I leave the house, I take my pillowcase and put that pillowcase, not washed, like the one I just
Your
slept on,
pillowcase. Yeah.
yeah, and slip it on. And Steve, it works, dude, because it smells like home, and
It's
you're
hard.
like
Yeah.
knocks me out right away.
Well, I mean, but you guys got to realize, for me, I didn't make my career staying in town. You know, I started going on the road when I was 20, and
Yeah,
I have been on the road minimum 45 to 48 weeks a year since I was 19 years old.
Wow.
So for me, man, for me, this has been very, very strange for me. That's 20 years. That's 20 years of every weekend me being on the road. So for me to be idle this long, if I'm being completely honest with you guys, I had anxiety attacks this past month. I'm battling depression. It's a big, big change for me. And thank God I have a wife that loves me and understands and has been supportive. But it's been really rough for me.
I can't even 48 weeks out of the year, dude. And then you got a little guy at home too. Because I've seen
Got to
you've taken him on some trips, and you get him up on stage. He's adorable, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, I do travel with my family as much as possible. And lately it had become almost 3 weeks out of the month
Right.
that my wife and kid would come. Which, dude, my kid is 4 years old, 4.5, and he's a gold member on American Airlines. I
Wow.
mean, that's insane. He gets upgraded. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But it's scary too because he's about to go into kindergarten, and we're not going to be able to travel like that. So we're trying to take advantage of it.
Well, the thing is, like, I had a lot of anxiety on the road, and I was on the road a lot more this year, in the last couple of years than I had ever been on the road, and my whole year was I was booked till the end of the year, and it's just very humbling to understand that, like, all of it just went away, but everything became so insignificant to me because all I started thinking about was my well-being and health and my family's well-being. I really panicked about my mom because my mom is older and immune compromised. And I was just like, I remember, like you said, bitching about being on the road and saying, oh, I just need a break. And
Right.
then be careful what you ask for because that break came out of nowhere. And now we're like, I got an email from a comedy club that said, we don't know when we're going to get back up because we don't know what the capacity requirements are going to be of clubs per the law. And that became very scary to me because our business is such a business of interaction with people that it is really on the line right now. Like a club owner told me today, realistically, I don't know if live stand up is going to come back this year because UCB closed down. I did not know that. UCB closed down in New York. They're closed like for good. And I was like, this can't be happening. I don't want to be an internet comedian.
Right.
That's a
No,
nice.
it's very. But I got to ask you, Ida, like being a female on the road, I can't imagine how hard it is for you to be by yourself, female, not having all of the things that you need and jumping out of a suitcase week in and week out. It's got to be a lot harder for you. And I'm not being sexist. I'm
No,
just
it's
saying
true.
that.
It's reality. It's not sexism. It's truth. I've never had when I remember doing Jeff Garcia's room in Corpus Christi, Texas, and I was on the road by myself. And Jeff Garcia's parents used to always look out for me. Like they would be like, "She's a woman. We have to make sure she's okay." Thank God his mother and his stepfather did. But I was sleeping in my room and somebody started
Mhm.
banging on my door, and there was a flyer in the front on the front desk because I was staying at a Red Roof Inn, and this guy who was in a farm league baseball player intimidated the girl at the front desk to tell him what room I was in, and he came and banged on my door drunk and was like, "Let me in. I just want to talk to you." And I had a panic attack. I had to call the police. Most guys don't go through that. That's the reality of being a woman on the road. And yes, it gets very, very scary. It can be, I'm a tall woman. I'm not like a 5'4", 80-pound chick. And I still have to worry about my safety. And that's not sexism. That's reality.
Yeah,
It
no, it's real. And not to mention, like my wife, she gets so mad because women want to change outfits. My wife wants to have all her makeup available. And she's like, Steve, I can't pack a carry on. Are you out of your mind?
oh yeah, no.
I mean,
We
I
have to think about things that, the reality of being a woman, things that are uncomfortable that happen to us that don't happen to you as far as being a woman. And you got to take care of yourself. When you go on stage, people have expectations of you, and it becomes another job to you got to think about your safety and your well-being in a way that men don't have to. And you got to be twice as good because you don't want to live up to the false expectation that women are not funny, and you have to deal with the stresses of on your body as a woman of being in a different climate and a different setting every couple of days, and it becomes heavy. When I saw you, I'm from Miami. It was like I was like, oh my God, when Orlando came to San Diego, I was like, oh, because you don't get to see people, and it's like, oh, you feel like you're in prison.
yeah.
well, and I also feel like comedians, I've been to parties where the comedian is there. I know he's a comic. We've never met, but for some reason we find ourselves together.
Yeah, I remember Jerry Seinfeld talking about it in Comedians in Cars, that no matter what, it just happens. There's a magnet. If there's another comedian in the room, they've never met. We just end up by, oh.
Yeah, because you share something. You've both
Yeah.
gone through certain experiences that you guys can relate to.
But to what Ida spoke about before, I don't think it's gonna be that bad. I think we're of a resilient people, and I think honestly, man, it might sound dumb. I think as soon as I want to call it July,
I hope
certain
so.
clubs will open. I don't think the big theaters are gonna be there anymore. Big places like Steve, like the West Palm Beach Improv, that's huge. That'll be broken down. It'll be kind of like old school Steve Trevino performing at the Miami Improv, the old
For 50
Miami
people.
Improv downstairs. Oh,
Yeah.
300 seaters, perfect, low ceilings,
Yeah, for sure.
and places like the Cellar and Gotham in New York and Houston Improv. All those places they'll be back. At first, people will come in and everybody, but then after a few sneezes and coughs, they'll be like, let's go.
Now,
Well, I also-
you on stage and you hear that first cough. You hear the laugh. Kick him out. He's got to go. That's what.
I also think that, different parts of the country are different. I mean, I don't think that New York's going to open in June, but I think Texas might.
Yeah.
Parts of Texas might. Montana. I mean, all these states that. I mean, look at Texas. We got 28 million people, and we've had 417 deaths. Now, I'm not saying that we should run out and do whatever. I'm just saying that moving forward, we look at the numbers and the relative to. I think LA's in trouble for a while. I think New York's in trouble for a while.
Do you think Texas isn't being affected as much because of the space between people, or is it because you guys are taking it a little more serious? Because in LA, there are some dumb people. They're like, I'm going to still go hiking. And you're like, stay home. Stop doing this.
It's distance. I mean, you look at Houston. Houston has a problem. You look at Dallas, Fort Worth. They have a problem. It's those are huge metropolises in Texas. San Antonio has an issue, but Corpus Christi has 2 cases. 2.
Yeah.
So I think it is the distance. I mean, my neighbor is way over there. My other neighbor is way over there. So, I think that in those 2 or 3 weeks that everybody's kind of stayed home, I think it helped. I think it flattened the line. Right. I think the people are crazy that say that it didn't and that we should have just willy-nilly done whatever we wanted. I think that's scary,
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that we don't. My concern is more about not having all of the information, and I think that's the biggest problem that we're dealing with, because people are scared and people are afraid that they're not making money and they're struggling and they want to go back to work. They say when it gets cold, we're going to have another wave of this because this thrives in the cold weather. A lot of people haven't been tested. There are a lot of people walking around like you and I who probably had it, dropped it off somewhere, and we don't have the symptoms. But I do think that it's important to take heed about, because my thing is I'm actually doing a fundraiser. So I'm in direct contact with healthcare professionals. And those are the people who have been saying to me, you guys don't even know half of what's really going on. You guys, because if we let you guys know, if people knew what was really happening at the hospitals, they would panic. And, like the healthcare professionals in New York are saying, we have to load bodies into semi trucks because this is not the flu. This is not the flu. Like, the flu has never shut down the world. The way that this is contagious is not the flu. Like, you got to understand. So I think that the uncertainty of that is what is really driving the fear. And it doesn't help that rich people keep telling us what we need to be doing because they're not affected the way that we are.
To add to that, have you guys watched Pandemic on Netflix?
No.
Okay, so
I did.
It was a thing they shot last year. It came out before all of this happened, and it was pretty much predicted because they show how flu strains change throughout the years and how these things have happened. So it was them pretty much going, we know the next one is coming, which we're in right now, and we hope we can stop it. And but they're so underfunded, and it's legit like a couple people going and trying to test different either birds or bats. Like, they're trying to find species that might carry this next flu strain to try to stop it.
Oh, China found it.
Okay. They found a couple of them.
You know what I watched? I watched Onward. That's what I watched. I was like, I'm not watching. I have been staying away from trauma porn. I was just talking to somebody about this morning. I don't want to watch anything about people getting killed, dying. Like, for my own mental health right now, I watched Onward. I cried. I watched it with my kids who are old now. And we were like, it was such a refreshing, sweet movie. I'm not watching Pandemic. I ain't watching What the Beef. I ain't watching none of that shit. I can't do that right now. I need some happy. I'm watching y'all specials.
It's like my mom watching Trauma in the ER. That's all she watches. And then I come home, mijo, you can get kidnapped and murdered. They'll take your liver. I'm like, Ma, you got to stop watching this shit, man. It's like, you got to chill. I'm like, by the way, they don't want my liver. I've already done damage. My liver.
My mother too. Like she watches the news and any kind of news in California. She doesn't know like San Jose to LA, like whatever it is. That whole they're killing people up in Pleasanton. I'm like, that's nowhere near me.
Yeah.
Just stay home. You know, please.
Yeah, my mom is the same way. The fires. Oh, the fires. I'm like, Ma, the earthquakes. Ma, it's nowhere.
Yesterday, and people were like, "Are you guys good?" There was an earthquake. I was like, I thought it was an accident outside. I didn't even feel it. Right.
And then I gotta explain to her like by distance. So she lives in Florida, so I gotta go, Mommy, that happened. Like you're in Miami, and that happened in Orlando. And she goes, wow, that's far. And I go, exactly. That's how far it is.
Well, Texas is the same way. I'll get a text message where like, yo, Trevino, I'm in El Paso, man. Let's say what's up. I'm like,
dude, I used to do that before I started like really traveling. I used to do that all the time. I'd like land in El Paso. Hey, guys, I call my family there in like Arlington. Like, I'm in El Paso. Why don't you guys come? They're like, that's like a all-day drive, dude.
That's 12 hours.
We don't love you that much. And I'm like, oh, word? Dang, all right, never mind.
My mom will tell me what's happening in the news, and it will come with an insult. Like she would be like, you know, they kidnapping older women too. This 54-year-old woman is human trafficking. And I'm like, yeah.
They're getting the gorditas. Be careful.
Yes. Like,
so since you're not watching this trauma porn, what are you? Are you watching? Have you watched Love Is Blind, Tiger King? Have you watched any of these? No.
I started watching Tiger King and I stopped. I was just like, I watched the first episode. I'm at a place right now where I am tired of people jacking off on other people doing worse than them. Because I started seeing the tweets and they were like, oh, they're dumb, they're stupid. Look at them, they don't have any teeth. And I've become hyper conscious about that. I was like, I just think we've just gotten so mean that right now, because of the news and all of the stuff that's going on, the polarization with people, the political, I can't. So I've been watching a lot of like, I've been watching like cartoons. I've been watching Pixar, Disney. Like I can't watch that stuff.
I started watching Goliath with Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh yeah, on Amazon.
Dude,
this guy's true to Amazon. Look at this.
first season was absolutely amazing, and then the second season I had to bail because Lou Diamond Phillips is playing a Mexicano, and he's a dishwasher, and his kid's a gangbanger, and anything that has that for me now, I just don't support. So,
Richie Valens, he couldn't get a better role.
Yeah, they couldn't put George Lopez. I mean, at least he's Mexican. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the only job a Native American is gonna get on television. They don't even write them into the stories. They're like, this Mexican. You hear me, Chief Hunter, Winter Hunter?
Dude, the Indians are being taken off the butter. They don't even want them on butter. We're just gonna make them disappear altogether. Let's just get rid of them. That white guilt is just getting rid of everybody.
Yeah, no, I've been watching. I just picked it up by accident. Someone recommended it on the BCC, Killing Eve, and they're already on their third season. So it's dope because you can just start at first season, and man, it's like there's times I really like the acting world that I say, man, if once I hit a certain number in the bank account, I like to do like a summer in England, and just go to an acting school and have them yell at me for a little bit. Because, man, it's great acting, dude.
I've always wanted to study. Killing Eve is a good because it's lighthearted. It's funny. I like Killing Eve, but I watched Mandalorian and I loved it. But I can't right now. I just can't. I started watching Unorthodox because I saw your email.
I just watched that. I ripped through that whole miniseries.
I didn't go down that journey.
Oh my!
Well, because I grew up in New York, so I would always see the Hasidic Jews with the hats and I just they're like sweet people. And then you watch this show and you're like, oh, they're gangster.
Yeah,
they are legit gangster.
What's this one?
What happened?
What's this one? What is it called?
It's called Unorthodox on Netflix. It's about and I don't want to give too much away. It's about a girl who's in the religion and decides she's out. And then you're following her journey and you're learning all about the insides of the religion and what they do to women. And then you watch also as they go, oh, we need to get her back.
Yeah.
So wow. It's intense. Because I remember seeing them in New York City and I was like, oh, they just nice people. They keep to themselves. And then I'm watching this. I'm like, they are, wow.
Yeah, you think they're like Amish people. And then Then he pulls out a gun, and you're like, "What the fuck, Hosea? What are you doing, Hosea?" He got 2 curlers on the side of his head to keep the curls there, and he got a pistol in his hand. I'm like, that does not go together. I stopped at the episode where she has sex with the other guy. That was I couldn't anymore. I was like, it was too heavy.
Latinos just live in denial. You know, I'm not Catholic anymore. Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Yes, you are. They just live in that, like, no, yes, you are. You are. You don't know it, but you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched Unorthodox, and then I tried to get into Succession because everybody said it was such a great show.
I watched all of it. I watched all of Succession.
I couldn't get into it. I could not. I tried.
You guys are gonna laugh at me, but I missed the boat on Sopranos. So me and the wife have started Sopranos.
Now I missed the beginning. There's 2 shows that I caught up at the end of it, Sopranos and Breaking Bad. So they've actually told me, no, dude, you need to Breaking Bad. You need to go to the beginning,
right?
To the very beginning. And I was like, all right.
See, I'm the same way. I missed the boat on The Wire. I just started that.
Yeah, The Wire is fantastic.
Dude, I was losing friends every time. I was like, oh, I haven't seen The Wire. Like, oh, we can't talk. So
that's why I was afraid. I was like, guys, I haven't seen Sopranos. Like, I was waiting for what are you, an idiot? You know?
But then I don't know about you, I get nervous, like, because I started watching The Wire. I was like, but what if I don't like it? What if I'm the one guy that watches it, like, it's all right?
The one guy that doesn't like the Beatles.
Yeah. Hey, Jude was a little overrated, guys, right?
Chris D'Elia just finished watching he was watching Breaking Bad. He said he never watched it. And he was like, oh my God, this is the best show ever, right? So then people started tweeting him saying, have you seen The Wire? No, you must not have seen The Wire. And he tweeted, I have seen The Wire. And it started a racial war on his Twitter page. I said, this is the world we live in now. It's too much.
My niece is 16, so I've had a lot of fun watching movies with her. And last weekend I showed her Dirty Dancing, that movie. And I was, it's that moment where you're like, I hope she likes it. And she freaking loved it. And then what was crazy was she was like, oh my God, I've heard people say nobody puts baby in the corner.
Yeah.
And I never knew where it came from.
Like, you know what you should see if you haven't seen it yet? It's a series on Netflix called The Movies That Made Us. And Dirty Dancing is one of the episodes. Yeah. And they talk about how they almost didn't make the movie.
I saw that. And so now my niece calls me up. She's like, have you seen The Movies That Made Us? So now she's like into the whole thing, which is really cool that I was able to introduce her to something that, I feel like my dad, right? When my dad would be like, I know that song. That's a remake. And you're like, what?
We're slowly becoming our dads. Mijo, let me show you what real music is.
Right.
I watched Purple Rain with my kids and Footloose.
Uh-huh.
And it's funny to see them laugh at me because I thought that was a good movie. They were like, this? Because I didn't realize that Prince, when he walked in the house to get his father, he said, where are you, motherfucker? And he turned around in a full spin. And my kids kept pausing it and rewinding it. And they were doing the spin. They were like, this is acting, Mom. Like, this is what you think is classic. And it was just funny. I never realized that he did the full spin.
Oh, there's nothing worse than watching a movie that you grew up watching, thinking it was the baddest movie ever, then rewatching it through your
Yeah.
kids' eyes, and they're like, "What is this?"
Dude,
But
Terminator.
it doesn't matter. Like to me, like here's my. It's not even like I love this movie, Top Gun. Right?
Love it.
You watch Top Gun,
Yeah.
and if you start comparing it to other movies, yeah, you're gonna judge it. But if you just watch the movie for watching the movie, but then I was like, as a kid watching Top Gun, I didn't see all the shower scenes that everybody points out. Like, why are these dudes always in towels?
Dude,
And
it's
why
like,
are they always so wet? Why are
Dude.
they always so wet?
it's like the Rocky movies. Like when the Creeds came out, I was like, "I'm gonna go back and watch the Rocky movies. They were bad." And then you get
And-
like
and
slow
then some-
montages of them like running on the beach. I'm like,
And they hug, and they inside the water, and they hug and jump inside the water and splash each other with water. And I was just like, dog, don't ruin this for me, because you didn't see any of that stuff, dude.
"Oh no!"
I was just like, yeah, that would be me and my friends. We're like, yeah, we're happy. But
Splash.
now you're like, dude, that's two grown men splashing water on each other. It was him and Apollo Creed. Oh, Jesus. But the other day they showed Top Gun because, they're getting us geared up for the Maverick movie,
Yeah.
right? And then the whole locker room scene, and I'm just watching, and then one dude lays down on the bench like this, and then another dude with a towel on just walks across his head and just like opens his legs and goes across his face.
Yeah.
And I'm like, huh.
Well, my thing is like, hey, Tom Cruise, how arrogant are you that you're still in the military at 50?
Oh yeah, now he loves it.
Yeah,
Like, you're not the instructor? You didn't think to be the instructor? You're still one of the guys?
yeah.
Like, come on, dude. You're 55 years old. You're not
So
the
the
guys.
whole argument. So I'm really into Top Gun. So the whole argument there is like an actual admiral. They interviewed a Navy admiral for Google, and the Navy admiral goes, the only way he would have still been a captain because he was a lieutenant, it would be that he served his time but stayed on the Navy, like what is it, the National Guard.
Right.
So he stayed on in the National Guard, kept flying weekends, and then something happened, and then he just re-enlisted full time again. 'Cause
Orlando's
he's in
really
great
trying
shape.
to save Top Gun for himself. Look,
Dog.
guys, it can happen.